So, what do you do when you're super thirsty?
Are you just chugging it down? Are you gulping it down?
Guzzling it down?
Just guzzling it, just getting it all in all at once?
Yeah, well, we have something to tell you about that. Listen up. Welcome to The Real Healthy You. Good to see you guys again this week.
I'm Barbie.
And I'm Jamie. I hope all went well. And we are talking more about water. So go ahead and grab your water bottle if you haven't already. Get your reusable water container with your straw, whatever you do, because we're going to talk about hydration and dehydration. And there's a lot of myths and a lot of misconceptions around this, what hydration and dehydration really are. So we're going to chat that up a little bit and give you some little tidbits about that. So how you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Very hydrated.
Yeah? You feeling hydrated? Well, we have a little test to see, a little at-home thing you can do in, 5 seconds to see if you are properly hydrated. And we're going to give that to you in a little bit, but right now we just want to kind of get into what does it mean to be hydrated. So, hydration. So what exactly is hydration? So it's what?
Replacing the water in your body.
Yeah, you're losing water all the time. So this is something that a lot of you may already be clear about, but some of you may not have really thought about this. But all day long you are losing water. And so you've got to replace that water. So if you decided to drink nothing at all, no liquid, no nothing, the whole day, your body would need some. Right, at some point, because we use a lot of water daily, just 2 to 3 quarts of water just to do the natural processes, whether it's talking, breathing,
sweating,
yes,
whatever.
Yes, and all the things that our body does inside needs water. There's a lot of hydro processes that go on in the body. So having said that, hydration, we're going to replace any sweat, any lost water loss from elimination, urination, exhalation. All of these things are going to get replaced when we make sure that our water content is at a nice, optimal level.
That's right.
So, on average, the body uses and needs to replace, like I said, 2 to 3 quarts of water
a day. Yeah.
So, how much is 2 to 3 quarts? That's kind of a lot of water. Almost a gallon. Well, a half a gallon between to 3/4 of a gallon. So, think about a big gallon jug of water. You don't need the whole gallon, right? But you need about half of it to 3/4 of it. But again, this is on average. Everybody's size is different and what you need is different. And we'll get into that a little bit. There is really no one size fits all.
No. And if you're a smaller person, you probably don't require as much water as you would if you were a bigger person.
Oh, for sure.
Like me.
If you were like 100-pound person, for example, you drank a gallon of water, I mean, that's way too much water for a 100-pound person, right? So that same person standing next to a 200-pound person, right, where you have more body process, you have more body space that your body needs to utilize and move things through, blood and everything else, you can use more water. So never go by the rule like, oh, always drink 10 glasses or drink a gallon. Like, it really has to do with.
Well, that's funny that you say that because, in 1945, believe it or not, they did a research on that, how much water we need in our bodies. And they claimed that we need, that's everybody, 8 glasses of water per day.
So 8
glasses.
8 times 8 is 64. So that's like 64 ounces, which is, in fact, that's a half a gallon. And so that might be reasonable as a minimum, right? Because you could always add more based on not only your size, but your activity level and the weather outside. Like, there's other things to
if you're sweating and you're doing activities, you want to make sure you hydrate more. But you don't need, for me, I drink when I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
So I don't say, and I used to do this all the time, every day, I need 8 glasses of water a day.
Right.
And I would kind of like make sure it was all available so that by the end of the day, I drank 8 glasses a day, depending on if I didn't do any exercises or so, but just regular day. I don't even do that anymore.
Yeah.
Because what I learned was my own innate intelligence tells me what I need.
Yeah.
It tells me when I'm thirsty.
Right.
So I go in with, so now what I do, and I feel much better, I drink when I'm thirsty.
Right.
Okay? And I think the most important part of that is the electrolytes, and we can talk about that also.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what the cells are missing. They're missing the electrolytes. And so if you could be drinking all day long, and if you're not getting electrolytes, matters none.
Well, I mean, if you're getting it from the drink, you can also get them from food. So
Oh,
it really
absolutely.
depends on your need. Like, what does your body need?
That's right.
And it will tell you, but I have to confess,
That's right.
everyone is not in tune with what their body's saying.
That's right.
And it takes practice. It takes
absolutely.
some trial and error. And it also takes time, to kind of learn that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what state is your body in? So if your body is damaged, it's sick, it's in a state of duress or illness or something,
or that imbalance, that
you may not
electrolyte imbalance.
recognize it because maybe the signals aren't getting out properly, right? So if you have an illness, your body's dysregulated, it may not be giving you those signals. You may not be able to identify the signals. You might have to say, I know my body needs liquid because I know I haven't had anything to drink all day today and it's now 9 p.m. So your body may not be telling you, or you may not be recognizing it for different reasons.
True.
So until you're able to identify that and recognize the signals from your body, you might have to manufacture that, right? Which is why they were telling people, drink blank a day and do this. That's why, because people were not in touch with the needs of the body, and then they're having all these symptoms of dehydration or sickness, and they don't understand why. So as you get into it, you'll be better able to recognize that. So so there's hydration, which we talked about, which is ideal. We want to be hydrated. But then there's overhydration. So there is such thing as being overhydrated. You've probably heard about intermittent fasting. You've maybe even tried it. Maybe it didn't work out for you. Maybe you didn't get great results. Or maybe you just need a reset. But either way, we've got this free intermittent fasting guide for you. It's got lots of colorful pictures and lots of information with a 2-week plan to get you started intermittent fasting and enjoying the amazing benefits. So check the link below if you're watching YouTube, and if you're on the podcast, check the show notes. Get that link.
And it's easier than you think.
Yeah, so go get it. And I know I never thought that. I just thought just drink and whatever. If you don't need it, your body will just get rid of it.
And it does. It does get rid of it. That's the problem. The problem is it doesn't have the energy it needs. So yes, you're going to drink the water, and you're going to keep drinking and drinking and drinking. But if you notice, you're going to the bathroom a lot.
Yeah.
So all that electrolytes, all that energy, all that what the cells need is being just taken right away.
Yeah.
So you could be drinking all day long and it wouldn't matter. You'd still be tired or fatigued or whatever those symptoms you have, because you don't need all that water. You need what's in the water.
Yes. And so often, in order to get overhydrated, it's drinking too much at once. And in the beginning, we had talked about, what do you do when you're thirsty?
Gulping it,
you're
gulping it,
drink this 16-ounce bottle of water, or just
right.
Drink it all down because you're thinking, my body needs all this. I have to make up for all this liquid that I need, especially if you're working out and you sweat, or if you're exerting yourself at work, or whatever you're doing that you feel like, I really need to replace my water. But to guzzle it all at one time, now this is where you could run into overhydration, because you're giving so much all at one time. Your body can only absorb but so much at one time. So if it can't absorb it, it's just going to kind of bypass the absorption, and it's just going to go straight out.
And it takes 20 minutes. 20 minutes it takes for that to happen, because we go into a survival mode. When you're gulping all that water, the body gets into a survival mode. And so in 20 minutes, all that water is gone, it's out of you. So now you got no balance.
Well, it's not
you
out
lose
if you
your
hold
balance. The
Who gets to
electrolyte
go to the
balance.
bathroom exactly when they need to?
Oh, I'm telling you.
Let's just
You
be
can
honest.
plan it, though.
Like, who is not
that.
like, I'm gonna go later? Like, who? You're at work, you're in a meeting, or you're at school, or you're wherever you are, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have to. Okay, I'll just wait, and you hold it. Like, some of us hold it way too long. Your poor bladder is like, what are you doing? This is like hours and hours. It's been like, can you go? Can you stop and go? It'll only take a minute. Just stop and go, and you don't. So, I mean, within 20 minutes of drinking all that, your bladder's like, okay, I've used what I need. You can get rid of it, right? But other than that, you're holding it all this time. So now you've got water retention, and what's going on now? I don't know. That's another story. So basically, you do want to be able to not overhydrate. Yeah, that's not the best case scenario. So decreasing the sodium in your blood is not what you want to do, right? I know they talk to you about hypertension and how too much salt creates hypertension, but we're not talking about iodized white salt, first of all, so we're not talking about that.
Ever.
And we're not talking about foods that are salty because there's too much iodized salt in it. We're not talking about that.
Ever.
We're talking about when you drink too much liquid, you dilute the sodium. That the balance of sodium is important, right? Electrolytes are important. Our bodies are electric.
That's right.
All of this stuff going on, these processes, there's this spark, these electric sparks going on.
And the cells are looking for them.
Yeah, and so these electrolytes help to circulate and do all this and keep everything in a lovely homeostasis, right? So if I drink a ton of water, I mean, you just think about a bottle, and you put a bottle of water, and then you drop a colored, what am I saying? Dye.
Dye, yep.
Just a drop of dye, this one drop of dye, food coloring in it. You can barely see anything. But if you just squeeze a ton of food coloring in, it just gets darker and darker and darker, right? So now, the same way that the food coloring is like your electrolytes. If I have a good amount of electrolytes, I'm happy. But now you're going to have all this water added to it, and it's getting lighter colored and lighter colored and lighter colored, and it's diluting all the sodium, diluting all the potassium, diluting all of the chloride. All of your electrolytes are being diluted by drinking way too much water at one time. So we don't want to be overhydrating. That's not the best idea. What else? What else?
That's why I feel good about just drinking when I'm thirsty. I think I've made that transition where I used to count all the glasses of water, and now I don't. And I notice when I drink less, I feel better.
Yeah.
Because the electrolytes in that water are really working. And they balance me, so I'm not desperate. And then you know what? You can plan when you have to go to the bathroom, especially if you're working at a job.
You can't plan it out. But a lot of times you're doing like something and like, oh, I'll just wait until I'm done. I got some more to do.
Yeah, but you can actually, if you think about it, just don't drink as much. Don't drink as much. And
sip
then
as you go.
Yeah, sip as you just sip all day.
For sure.
Yeah, sip instead of gulping and chugging down.
That's for sure.
Just sip all day with your electrolytes, with your Celtic salt, or whatever you put in your water.
I mean, you can definitely become so overhydrated that you could cause all kinds of like serious issues.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, seizures, coma. I mean, I know this is crazy, but you could die from too much water. I mean,
Actually,
but we already know that everything is in moderation.
That's right, but you know what? They used to do the hazing in the colleges.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The hazing in the colleges, they would drink. They had to chug down so much water, whatever. There were deaths.
Yeah.
The body went through so much emotion.
And a lot of it was alcohol too, which was a whole other topic,
that's
because
true
alcohol
too.
is extremely
It was
dehydrating.
over though. It was over. It was like that body couldn't take all that water.
Yeah, that's way too much, because once you get out of balance with your electrolytes,
the
major functions of the body can no longer happen. So visible signs of hydration and overhydration, you can actually look at your urine. And that's a quick test that you can do to look at what's going on in your body.
Yeah.
Okay, so coloring matters, right? So I know you're probably thinking like, why are we talking about bathroom stuff? But the fact is, this is your body. This is a function of your body, and you need to know what's going on, because this is what's going to tell you what's going on inside the body is what comes out of the body. It helps you to know that. So if you have very clear, colorless Like you pee, you leave, and it looks like nobody was there. Because the water, it's the same exact color, the water didn't change. It's colorless, clear.
Yeah.
That is too much water. You're overhydrated. Okay? That's your symptom. Overhydrated. It just went straight through and came out the way it went in. Right?
It's true.
Right?
No, you want to.
You need some coloring, like
You have
straw
to.
color, very pale
Yeah.
yellow. It's telling you that's a nice balance of hydration.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about the darker colors when we get to dehydration.
Well, that's a whole nother story.
We don't want the darker colors. All right, so stop drinking if you feel bloated, if you have a headache, if you feel nauseous. All of these things are telling you too much, slow down, too much. And you got to listen to your body. We talked about listening to our body. So that's one way to listen. All right, so what is good for hydration? What is good for hydration? Think about some things that is good. Don't chug water.
That's right.
Sip,
Don't gulp down
sip,
that water. And there you go again, saying, well, I got to have 8 glasses of water in the day. No.
Yeah.
So don't chug down that water. Sip.
Yeah.
In the course
I mean, you
of the
can do
day.
a couple ounces. I'm not saying you can't drink 3 or 4 ounces of
but
water,
some
like a
people
half a
just-
glass
yeah.
of water, but
Yeah.
not just like, not like that. And we already talked about the reason why. We also talk about, there's really no health benefit in drinking too much water. We talked about the negative side of that. There is such thing as too much. We don't want to do that. In the morning, it's good to drink a glass of water first thing. So I know a lot of us
absolutely.
get up and drink coffee in the morning because it feels so warm and it makes us feel happy and the caffeine wakes us up and all of this stuff. But it's best in the morning. Think about what happens when you sleep at night. Okay, so you're sleeping. If you're a mouth breather in particular, you're all
Dry.
yeah, all of that moisture is coming out of your body all night. If you keep your mouth closed and you still moisture, you still when you exhale, you're exhaling a lot of the moisture in your body.
In your body, yep.
Then you've got all of the processes that go on at night while you're sleeping, right? Construction happens at night. You're in bed sleeping and all sorts of body processes are happening and it uses water. So when you wake up in the morning, that is the probably most depleted you'll be for the day. You start off depleted, right?
That's it.
So get up in the morning and before you have your coffee, before you have breakfast, anything.
Drink a glass of water.
Drink a glass of
water.
Yeah, drink a glass of water to
That's
sort of
it.
start at a nice
Do it
balance.
nicely. Don't chug it.
Yeah.
Just drink it
I
nicely.
drink a glass of water in the morning. Mine is usually room temperature, not cold.
Yeah.
Like the same as my body temperature. And then I usually have a couple of salt crystals, 1 or 2.
That's it.
Let that kind of dissolve on my tongue, and then I drink the water.
Yeah.
And then I leave it alone for a little bit, and then I'll have whatever I'm going to have later in the morning. So if you want a coffee after that, fine. But first, let that get in your body and let it sit a bit. Don't just go behind it with coffee 1 minute right behind it. Allow it to absorb, allow it to do what it's going to do, and then if you want coffee, that's fine.
That's fine.
Is that reasonable?
Oh, not only reasonable, but it's like saying to yourself, here you are, this is what you need, and thank you for what you do for me, because that is your health benefit.
Yeah.
Your electrolytes now will be replenished, your body will be nice and calm, and it'll feel good.
And if you're someone who likes numbers because it just helps a lot, 12 ounces of water at once, that's too much.
Too much.
So you know when they say 8 ounces a day or whatever, 8 ounces a glass. So 1 glass of water in the morning is probably the biggest glass you're having because you're replenishing from the night before.
True. Yeah.
But 8 to 12 ounces, that's too much water
It
at one
really
time. Your
is.
body cannot consume all that. Now, if you're a bodybuilder, if you're a heavy set, you're a couple 100 pounds, you got lots and lots of muscle on you and you're bodybuilding, okay, we're not talking about that.
No.
Because there's a whole nother athletic piece to that. There's a lot. We're just talking about the average person doesn't need 12 ounces of water at once, just in average. So that's hydration. And obviously, you got to train yourself to drink water. I know it's hard sometimes because it doesn't taste good or it makes you have to use the bathroom a lot, but your body can be trained. So drinking small amounts at once allows it to absorb so it doesn't run to the bladder and have you run to the bathroom. So that's part of
And
it
plus,
as well.
you're not forcing your body to do things that it's just not meant to do. I mean, you're actually forcing your
You are.
body to go into that mode, that that survival mode because it can't handle all that
It
water.
is kind of funny. It's like we drink all that water and then like, oh, now I have to go to the bathroom. Like, what did you expect when you put all that
That's
liquid
right.
in there? Like, what are you saying right now?
That's right.
So that's hydration and overhydration. But then dehydration, I think a lot of times we talk about dehydration, and I think we talk about it in a very we just talk about it more than what it really is. So what am I trying to say? I think we use the term dehydration too much.
Also, too, that we have to do something about it because we're dehydrated.
And I think we call ourselves dehydrated when we're actually not dehydrated. We just use the term because we're extra.
Yeah,
I'm so dehydrated. It's like
Yeah.
there are symptoms of dehydration. And you're probably not exhibiting them when you're saying I'm dehydrated. You're actually thirsty, which is good because that's the first sign. The body's like, hey, give me stuff so I don't become dehydrated. Right?
That's right.
So we have got an amazing offer for you. We have a low carb get started course. It is a virtual online course. It's 6 weeks of full colorful presentations. You've got a course book. You've got all that you need in order to get started on low carb. It's called Health. I don't know where to start. A 30-day guide to a low carb. So it's self-paced. It's virtual. Go ahead to our website, therealhealthyyou.com, and get your course so that you can get started smashing the sugar, which is the first foundation when you want to get rid of low carb.
That's right.
Yes. So
and you got this help right here.
Yes. Take advantage of it, and we'll see you on the other side.
Yes.
So being dehydrated is when your body's lacking the proper water levels to function the way that it should. So if you stay dehydrated, truly dehydrated, then body functions will start to be dysregulated because that's truly dehydration.
That's right.
Not just thirst, right? So insufficient fluid intake. If you sweat a lot, we talked about that. A lot of sweat means I need more water. If I don't replace it, eventually your levels are going to drop till you actually do get to dehydration. And if you're sick, you notice how when you're sick, you just feel so drained and fatigued, not only from the sick, but it's from the beginnings of dehydration.
And you know what? Relating dehydration, if we could relate it to electrolytes, I know this is, I keep saying this, but that's what the cells are looking for in the water, are the electrolytes. So if you can just kind of notice when you think of water, think of electrolytes. Yeah. That's your energy. That's what the cell is calling for.
That's legit.
It's the water. It's the electrolytes in the water.
Right. And in the food. But if you're sick.
That's right.
The last thing you want to do when you're sick is eat.
That's
right.
True.
So you're not eating.
Yeah.
Which is fine because the body's like, I can't be digesting things. Leave me alone. I got work to do to try to heal you. Yeah. But then we don't feel good, so sometimes we don't even drink. We just don't feel good. So we just shut it all down and we kind of go in our cocoon. But what'll happen is, especially if you're vomiting or diarrhea or things like that, fever, all of that is like depleting all of your liquid. All of them are being depleted. And so that's when the dehydration really can be real dehydration, not just thirst.
You'll notice your mouth is dry, your eyes. People don't even recognize sometimes their eyes are dry. Yeah, it's lacking. You're dehydrated.
That's
true. You need that balance. Yeah. You need that. Feed it.
And some medicines too, you got to pay attention because they tend to
dehydrate.
If they're diuretic or they have some kind of
that's true.
If part of the medicine helps to dehydrate you, you'll notice some medicines will say have this with plenty of water or drink plenty of water with this medication because they know it has a diuretic effect and it will start to either deplete your liquid or it will make you retain it so it sits there and it doesn't get out, right? So either one of those we don't want.
And it's funny too because what I've noticed and what I've learned now and I've experienced and I feel really good about is that I know it probably sounds very simple, but I drink when I'm thirsty. Yeah. I keep going back to that.
Yeah.
Because all that other stuff we're doing doesn't make any sense in what the cell needs.
Yeah.
For instance, if I'm sitting here thirsty, I feel thirsty, I'm going to drink something.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink some water with electrolytes because I'm thirsty. That's my sign. You know what? I need water. Your body needs water. Okay, I'm thirsty. That's my sign. Give me some water.
But part of it is part of it is being in touch with that. Because
and that's what I
busy,
mean. That's right.
And you're talking to someone, you're out, you're doing something, and your body, you're like, I'm kind of thirsty, but whatever. And you just keep moving, like, I'm kind of thirsty, but and you keep moving. It's and there are times when you can't do anything about it. Okay, I get it. There are times when it's like, I'm thirsty, but I'm out here, I don't have any water, whatever. I'll get to it. But there are times when the water is available. Like right now, I can get up and go in there and get water.
That's right.
Right? But I'm saying, I'll get it later. I'm going to finish this or I'm going to do that. So there are times we deny our bodies when our bodies are telling us, look, this is what I need for optimal health. This is what I need to carry on what you're doing. This is what I need to support you is what the body is saying. And we're saying, yeah, body, we ain't got time for you right now. I'll get to you later. And, and it's sort of like putting it down into its place instead of supporting it and giving it what it's asking for.
Or also stating for yourself in your body that I know I'm going to be thirsty. So I get in my vehicle, I bring a bottle of water.
Yeah, be prepared ahead of time. Yeah, exactly.
I'm going wherever I'm going, whatever I'm doing, my water's going to be there somewhere.
Right.
So when I'm thirsty, I can take it. Because my body's telling me, hey, you can take some of this water now because I'm thirsty. And that's just being so aware.
And respectful.
But also, too, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to be thirsty. Get it. Otherwise, you won't be sitting there drinking those 8 glasses of water, making sure it's all in you all day. You may not need all of that all day. Because you're drinking when you're thirsty.
It's being really just aware of the needs of your body.
That's it.
Because if I know I'm going to be out at a concert later and I know there's really not going to be, I'm going to be there for an hour watching the kids or whatever, and there's really not going to be any liquid, and I already know that. We can get along without liquid for a couple hours, guys. It's not that serious. But how about if I don't go without drinking the whole day and then go to the concert at 7 at night and worry about, how about if I prepare myself and go, I know I'm going to this concert later at night. I don't want to have to break. I want to watch it. So I'm going to drink earlier during, kind of build up my drink reserves during the day so that when I go there, I'm okay. There's things we can do to pay attention to that. But it does require a certain reverence for the body and a certain respect and caring to try to get ahead of that.
And that's when you start the chugging down and the gulping because you haven't done it all day.
Yeah.
And now you say, oh my God, I haven't drank all day long. Oh God. And you take
and
that bottle and you're drinking. You think, now you're thinking, you're filling up this body.
Yeah.
And the minute you start chugging that down like that, the body goes into that mode, that survival mode immediately.
Yeah.
So now it's going to get rid of it.
Yep.
So you're not going to get the electrolytes. So you're going to just sip all day. Just sip.
That's one way to prevent it. Sip all day. Another way is in fruits and vegetables and different foods.
Your foods also.
There's liquid,
yes.
Particularly fruits and vegetables.
That's
they
true.
tend to have a lot more water in them. So you can get it that way.
That's true.
Also, carry your water bottle with you. If you're going to be sweating excessively, try to stay in a cool, comfortable environment. But sometimes you're out working or you're in the heat, bring water, knowing that you're going to need that hydration. Otherwise, you're really just not taking care of yourself. And that's why when people go to the gym or they exercise, they always have a water bottle. Or there's a water bubbler or something because it's like you need to rehydrate while you're doing all that.
Especially if you're doing exercises and if you're active. You want to make sure it's hot outside. You want to make sure you have that available because you're going to be thirsty and you need to drink. You need to do that.
And hydration, we're talking about water because water is really God's gift to us in terms of hydration, and it's the best scenario for hydration. With the caveat that if you're needing electrolytes, maybe, but in general, water is the best way. But fluid, when we say hydration, it's really fluids. It's not just water. It's keeping your body, fluids in your body. So you could drink, liquids, you could drink water, you can drink foods like fruits and vegetables, like even with the coffee. Or if you drink some drink and you water it down, it's like you're getting some water as well as some drink. So you're getting liquids, and that's what
Right,
would
yeah.
help you. But that takes us into one of the myths. Like there's this myth. Is it myth? Okay, I'm going to ask you.
It is a myth.
No, I'm going to
Coffee?
ask you. Don't know.
Oh, you're going to
I'm
ask
going to
the
ask
people.
them because maybe it isn't.
Go ahead.
So I'm going to ask you, myth or truth? Coffee is dehydrating. Myth or truth? Put it in the comments. Myth or truth?
Or truth.
Coffee is dehydrating. Put what you think. Don't listen. Pause the video and put what you think before you get the answer. Okay? Put what you think. All right. So the answer is,
Myth.
is coffee dehydrating?
It's a myth.
No, it's not. It's not dehydrating. Although there's a little
not
caveat to that. Depends on how you look at it a little bit.
Yeah, if that's all you're drinking.
That's true.
You're not drinking any water.
Well, coffee, if it's decaf coffee, right out the gate, we're done. Because what makes coffee even a conversation about dehydration is the diuretic effect.
Yeah.
It's the caffeine. It's the caffeine that has the diuretic effect. It's not the coffee. So if it was a decaf coffee or decaf tea, it wouldn't have the same effect. It's the caffeine. So if you're drinking a caffeinated, what is it, like energy drink or some kind of sports drink or whatever with a bunch of caffeine in it, it's going to have the same effect as coffee. It's the caffeine. So, I mean, a couple of cups of coffee, 2 cups of coffee, a little less than 2 cups, that's not going to give you the dehydration effect.
Dehydration, no.
But if you're a coffee drinker, you're drinking 3, 4, 5 cups of coffee a day. Yeah.
But that's anything that you go to extremes with.
Well, when you're drinking the caffeine is what is triggering the body to release it. So it's like go through the body and just pee it out. We don't just pee it out. And now all the liquids that was in your body is all gone. So you end up being underhydrated, basically. Right. So drink water, not just coffee, because how you can counteract that, drink water. Make yourself a rule. For every cup of coffee I drink,
I'll drink some water.
I also drink a cup of water.
Yeah.
So if I drink an 8-ounce cup of coffee, I'm due 8 ounces of water at some point. Sip through it, right? That's a good rule. 1 and 1. Or even 2 and 1 if you want. 2 cups of water for each 1 cup of coffee. Whatever.
That.
Come up with a little scheme for yourself. But yeah, that's one way.
Yeah, but drinking coffee, you won't experience the dehydration with 1 or 2 cups of coffee. So you can just have your coffee and enjoy it.
But if you're drinking a ton of energy drinks, you might.
Oh yeah, but that's a whole nother story
caffeine.
Because everything else is in there too.
It's caffeine. I'm not even dealing with the sugar part.
I mean, we're not even
some of them are
talking
sugar-free,
about
but it's
that.
caffeine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as long as you're getting enough water along with it, you'll be okay. So coffee doesn't actually dehydrate you. It does also depend on your tolerance for caffeine. Some people can tolerate caffeine a lot better than others. If you have a low tolerance for caffeine, coffee may dehydrate you faster because you don't have a tolerance for caffeine anyway. So it's just coming after you, if that makes sense. Also, if it's really hot outside, if you're exercising a lot of activity, put that together.
Just heat.
And it could make the caffeine have a heavier effect on you and make drain out all your water reserves much faster. So that's myth number 1. Myth number 2 is, well, actually caffeine's not the only thing that gets you dehydrated, Y'all are saying coffee dehydrates. There's all these other things that dehydrate.
Sugar.
Did you know that?
Yeah, sugar.
Did you know that sugar is dehydrating? Did you?
Sugar.
Yeah, sugar is dehydrating, guys.
Sugar does everything bad.
I know, sugar has so many problems. But what it does is it gets in your bloodstream.
That's right.
And then because it's in your bloodstream, your body's like, yikes, get all this glucose out of my bloodstream. And so it starts pulling water out of the cells, to try to dilute all the sugar in your bloodstream. Do you want the water out of your cells? No, you don't.
No.
No, you don't. So sugar is dehydrating. So
also, people don't recognize, but alcohol is it can
be dehydrating.
Yeah, it can be dehydrated, but it's like a diuretic also.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But if you drink water in between, it's so different.
Yeah, it does change things, guys. Water changes
just
things.
everything.
Yeah, it's ironic because how you get a hangover. A lot of the hangover has to do with the dehydration.
Yeah.
because water dehydrates you or it underhydrates you.
Yeah.
Sometimes so bad that you drink so much, you don't eat, you don't have any water. It literally brings everything down to that dehydration level. And that's when you start having all these hangovers.
Especially, that's right, with the alcohol.
Yeah,
because
it's dehydration.
You just didn't drink the water in between. You didn't just keep yourself hydrated.
And even eat. I mean, some people, that's why they tell you make sure you eat some in between while you're drinking. Don't just drink on an empty stomach. Don't drink and drink and don't eat. So all of that goes together with the proper hydration. So you got caffeine, you have sugar, and you have alcohol. These are all dehydrating. They have the potential to be dehydrating. So imagine if you had a meal that was sugar laden with alcohol, and then you topped it off with a dessert and coffee.
It's over. The whole three.
Oh
that's
my goodness!
That's right there.
You just gotta be. I'm not telling you don't go out and have an amazing meal. There's ways to tweak that, but I'm just saying, don't be surprised when you do these things and you wonder why you feel these ways. So, so here's a myth or truth or myth. You can never get too much water. Drink. You need to drink. You can never get too much water. Just drink. If your body doesn't need it, it'll get rid of it. Truth or myth? Put it in the comments. Okay? So what is it? Truth or myth?
It's a myth. Of course you can.
Yeah. It's called overhydration.
Of course you can. You can get overhydrated.
That's a thing. We talked about it, about with the electrolytes and all that.
It's especially when the body goes into that mode where it's dying. It's saying, stop. God, help me.
Have you ever been kind of weak or fatigued and you kind of had like your heart was beating, like a little bit of a flood or irregular heartbeat? I'm not talking about heart disease, cardiac arrest or anything. But I'm saying like, just a little bit of a, here in your heart, your muscles may be cramping maybe you're fatiguey, all that. And it's like, and you just feel that kind of way, like, that kind of way. That's electrolyte imbalance, no doubt. And a lot of that, the doctors, that's when you get sick, the first thing the doctor says is drink plenty of water. Drink plenty of water. Yeah. Because it's like, get yourself hydrated. Because if you don't, you're going to regret it, right? So part of our issue is to make sure that you're paying attention. If you have kidney issues, you have to be extra careful.
Yeah.
But someone with a, healthy kidney, the kidney can handle. I mean, it's going to take a lot for you to be overhydrated. I mean, really, you got to just really be in a contest where you're trying to see who can drink
most.
A gallon of water in 20 minutes or something. But other than that, if your kidney is functioning normally, it's really rare for you to be overhydrated to the point where you come into these really life-threatening issues. So that was a myth. And the last myth, what is our last myth? Well, we kind of busted that already. The last myth that people were saying was, you got to drink when you're thirsty. Just drink, drink it right down and make sure you fill your body up with hydration. And we already talked about the chugging.
Yeah, because you're chugging, but you're
not a good idea.
Yeah, but it's in 20 minutes. It's just flushing out all your electrolytes.
Your poor bladder's like, oh, you gave me a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna push that out.
That's right. And now you have none.
It's funny because it reminds me of, like, how when you wash your hands, you go and now they have the song for the hand washing. I don't know if you know this, but for probably at least a decade or two, they're talking about the hand washing song. You sing happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me.
And then
you
sing,
and that's enough. 20 seconds in order to wash your hands.
Yeah.
Well, they have all kinds of songs, and with the kids at school
they
and
do
everything.
The toothbrush too.
Yeah, they do all kinds of songs when you wash your hands to make sure that you get the full 20 or 30 seconds or whatever. So imagine you wash your hands, how you just put the soap in and you just go, and you run off. It's like, you didn't give the soap enough time to rinse off. What are you doing? Think about that when you chug water. You don't give your body enough time to absorb anything. It just goes and right out. You got to give your body, your cells, a chance to absorb the water.
That's right.
Which
That's
is why sipping. Have a little at a time. It can absorb that. And a little bit later, it can absorb that. And
sipping.
The cells are like, we feel good and healthy.
Just sip when you're thirsty.
So do that. Yes, that's how you do that.
Don't ignore it.
Yeah. And if you're not ready to hear your body say thirsty, then you need to plan yourself. Just plan water and sip until you learn how to hear your body.
But you know what else would help? I know it helps me a lot by
What?
making sure I have my water.
Oh, nearby, yeah.
Because I could be driving,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, and I'll reach for the bottle and take a few sips, and I'm good. I'm gone again. So, yeah, it's just being prepared to know that, yes, your body is going to get thirsty, and yes, respect it.
Yeah, and you can also have fun with it. Like go to the store and buy a really cool mug, or a cool cup, or a cool straw,
Stainless
or like
steel.
put cool designs on it. Something that it's going to make it a little more exciting. You're like, oh yeah, I got my cool water cup that I'm going to drink out of, or my water bottle, or whatever, and that can help to add a little spark to it, make it extra fun to drink your water each day.
And we're not talking about what kind of water.
No, we'll have another
That's
show
a whole nother
water quality. Another story. Another story.
God
But
knows.
I did promise that we would talk about the quick test. So before we go, the quick test that you can take to see if you are hydrated. It's a skin test. You may have heard it, skin turgor.
Oh yeah.
Skin turgor. You may have heard the word turgor. You may not have. But it's a quick test. It's turgor is kind of the elasticity or the resiliency of your skin. Right. And so you can use the back of your hand. You can use this part right here on the front of your chest here. You can use the abdomen.
Yes.
Like, because this is places that are not high fatty. It has to be an area that doesn't, you're not going to use just thigh or something where there's a lot. Yeah. So this is the easiest. So if you just use it right here. So you're just going to grab with your pincer fingers, you're just going to grab a piece of skin.
It right there.
And you're going to pinch it for about 5 seconds. And then let it go. You see that? I need water. Did you see that? Let's do it again. Okay, so pinch it. Hold it. Hold it for about 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Watch. Okay. It took less than a second to resume itself. But for me, I know for myself, I need a little water. It's not bad. I'm not dehydrated or super underhydrated. But it should have, if it bounces back, like just literally, it just goes right back where it was. You're properly hydrated.
Mine went right back where it was.
Yeah, so yours went right back. Mine, you saw, see how mine lingered just ever so slightly.
Yeah, but it wasn't a lot.
No, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't a lot. But there are times, next time you feel kind of ill, or if you're in the bed, you have some kind of sickness or something, test it then when you really haven't had a lot to drink. Test it, and you'll see sometimes it will literally, I'm holding it, but it will literally stay there.
Yes.
For a whole second and a half, and it's like, whoa, what's happening?
Yes.
Because it's so in need of liquid. Okay.
Well, I guess I'm wadded up good.
Yeah, so that's your skin turgor test to do your quick little, am I hydrated enough? And we hope you'll try that every now and then to keep yourself where you need to go. And yeah, so that's all we got for you for hydration and dehydration.
Just sip.
Sip, 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 and take your temple
back.
See you next week.